It's over. I'm a dead man walking, about to get fired from my own marriage by an Ice Queen CEO. I thought I was just going to coast, but little did I know that my gorgeous, cold-as-ice wife could hear every single snarky thought and half-baked business plan bouncing around in my head. On the surface, she was a statue, but behind the scenes, she was using my inner monologue to wage a one-woman war in the boardroom. And she was winning, big time, until the day she backed me into a corner, her eyes narrowed. "Just how many more secrets," she murmured, "are you hiding in that head of yours? Sign it. There's $5 million in this account, and the G63 in the garage is yours. After this, we owe each other nothing." Jessica Sterling's voice was as cold and sharp as her designer suit. She slid a divorce agreement across the polished mahogany desk, her posture elegant, her presence suffocating. "My name is Ethan Hayes. I'm not supposed to be here. 3 days ago, I was just another cubicle jockey, duking it out with my boss over a marketing proposal. Then, the world went black. When I opened my eyes, I'd been dropped into the life of a guy with the same name, a guy who'd married into one of the wealthiest families in the state. The original Ethan was a classic simp, hopelessly in love with Jessica. Too bad she wouldn't give him the time of day. They'd been married for a year, slept in separate wings of the mansion, and saw each other less than I see my dentist. He finally drank himself into a creatively bankrupt end, and poof, I arrived. Looking at the divorce papers, I could barely contain my glee. $5 million and a G-Wagon. Is this for real? I've hit the jackpot. Thank you, rich lady, for this incredible parting gift. Finally, I can stop pretending. Divorce? Sign me up. I'll take that cash, buy a condo somewhere quiet, and spend the rest of my days gaming. This is the life. Jessica Sterling. I mean, she's a legitimate 10, body's a masterpiece, but damn, she's cold. Living with her, you'd save a fortune on air conditioning. I'll take my video game heroines, thanks. I fought back a grin, picked up the pen, and prepared to sign my name with a flourish. Across the desk, however, Jessica's brow furrowed. A flicker of confusion crossed her beautiful eyes. She looked at me, then down at the papers, as if checking the fine print. "What's the hold up? Let's go, lady. I've got a new car to pick up." Don't tell me she's having second thoughts. Is $5 million too much for her? No way. That's my emotional damages payment. Maybe I should squeeze out a few tears. Play the heartbroken husband? No, my acting sucks. I probably just scare her off. I clear my throat and put on my best tragic face. "Jessica, I know I was never good enough for you. If this is what you've decided, I respect your choice." I moved the pen toward the paper. "Wait." Jessica's voice stopped me. She reached out and put her hand on mine. Her fingertips were ice cold against my skin, sending a jolt through me. My stomach dropped. Oh crap. She's backing out. Freaking capitalists. They hate parting with a single dime. Is she going to lowball me? Jessica wasn't looking at me. Her gaze had drifted to a document at the corner of the desk. It was a project report from her company. The title read, "Proposal for the Sterling Center Retail Transformation." The Sterling Center? Isn't that her family's dying shopping mall? Retail transformation? More like a funeral procession. The location is terrible, the brands are ancient, and management is a dumpster fire. Not even a miracle could save it. This proposal is the definition of a Hail Mary into triple coverage. Online engagement driving offline experiences? Who falls for that garbage anymore? Her main competitor, Lucas Vance, is just waiting for her to go bankrupt so he can swallow her company whole. If you ask me, the only way to save that place is to ditch the high-end luxury angle completely. Go for the youth market. Turn it into a hub for foodies, gamers, and pet lovers. First floor, all viral food concepts, hot chicken, ramen bars, artisan donut shops. Second floor, a massive esports arena and escape rooms. Third floor, cat cafes, dog cafes, the works. Rooftop becomes an outdoor cinema with a barbecue pit. I guarantee you triple the foot traffic in 3 months. But what do I know? An Ice Queen CEO like her would never go for a plan that populist. I was deep in my silent rant when Jessica slowly pulled her hand back. She picked up the Sterling Center report, glanced at it, and then, right in front of me, ripped it in half. I froze. She ripped it? Why did she rip it? Did she hear me? No. No way. That's insane. It has to be a coincidence. She must have realized the plan was garbage on her own. Jessica tossed the shredded report into the trash can and looked at me again. There was something new in her eyes, something I couldn't decipher. "We're putting the divorce on hold," she said, her tone still arctic as she tapped the desk. "And this month, you'll move back into the master bedroom." I just stared at her. "Excuse me? What part of the script is this? No divorce? And I have to move into the master bedroom? Lady, you're a notorious germaphobe. You couldn't stand the original me." "Wait a second. Is she into me?" "No. She's ignored me for a year. Why now?" Oh, I get it. She needs to project an image of a stable marriage to calm down the vultures on her company's board. She's using me. A classic PR move, fine. $4 or $5 million in a G-Wagon. I'll play along. It's just acting, right? And I'm a professional in my own mind. I let a look of heartfelt emotion spread across my face. My voice even cracked a little. "Jessica, are you serious? You're not divorcing me." Jessica looked at me, her lips parting slightly before she settled for a cold little huff. "Don't get any ideas. There's an important corporate gala next week. As my husband, your attendance is mandatory." She stood, looking down at me. "Screw it up, and you won't see a single penny." With that, she turned and walked away, the click of her heels echoing in the cavernous office. I watched her go, a thought popping into my head. Damn, that woman has one hell of a walk. Too bad she's made of ice. Just as she reached the door, Jessica stumbled, catching herself on the frame. She paused for a second, her back to me, and took a deep breath. I didn't see it, of course, but the tips of her ears had turned a subtle, burning red. Day one of moving into the master bedroom, and I was getting a full-blown taste of capitalist excess. The room was bigger than my last apartment. The bed could comfortably sleep 5 of me. The walk-in closet was a certifiable maze, and the bathroom had a jacuzzi tub. Decadence. This is obscene. The evils of wealth, but damn, it's nice. I'm definitely trying out that jacuzzi tonight. Some music, a bottle of wine. Yeah, I could get used to this. Jessica's assistant, Jenna, brought in my pathetic excuse for luggage, her expression a mix of pity and contempt. "Mr. Hayes, Ms. Sterling has instructed that you are free to move about the house, but please do not disturb her while she is working," she recited. All business. I nodded. Right. Be a good little houseplant. Got it. Don't worry. As long as the food and booze keep flowing, I won't cause your precious boss any trouble. Jenna seemed taken aback by my easy compliance. She gave a curt nod and left. I immediately dove onto the massive cloud-like bed and rolled around a few times. Incredible. This mattress has to be 6 figures. Easy. 1,000,000 times better than the plywood I slept on in my old rental. Just as I was reveling in my glorious new life of leisure, Jessica walked in. She changed into a silk pajama set, which softened her corporate sharpness into something more feminine. But her face still had the same frosty expression, like a Siberian winter. She was holding a tablet and walked straight to a sofa in the corner, where she sat and started reading. I shot up from the bed and sat ramrod straight. What's she doing in here? I thought the rule was not to disturb her. It's her room, so technically I'm the one being disturbed, right? Whatever. I'm living on her dime. I have to be a good boy. As long as she doesn't talk to me, I'll just pretend she's a very lifelike, very expensive ice sculpture. The room was silent, save for the soft tap of her finger on the screen. Bored, I started studying her. Man, this woman is flawless from every angle. Her skin is practically glowing under the lamplight. Eyelashes for days, that perfect nose, the shape of her lips. Wonder what it would be like to kiss her. Stop it. Ethan, you're a man of principle. Your principle is to do nothing. Don't be distracted by a pretty face. The mission is $5 million and a G-Wagon. Ahem. Jessica cleared her throat suddenly. She picked up a glass of water from the table, taking a sip, but her eyes never left the tablet. I noticed her hand, the one holding the glass, seemed to tremble slightly. What's up with her? Sore throat? Makes sense. Walking around with a permanent scowl all day probably gives you indigestion. I should ask the kitchen to make her some hot tea with honey. She's my golden goose, after all. Gotta keep the investment healthy. Jessica's finger paused on the tablet. She looked up, her gaze complicated as it landed on me. I felt a prickle of unease and quickly looked away, pretending to be fascinated by a painting on the wall. Why is she looking at me? Is idiot written on my forehead? Did she guess what I was thinking again? No, impossible. Coincidence. All coincidence. A moment later, Jessica's phone rang. She answered, and her brow immediately knitted together. What? The core tenants of the Sterling Center are threatening to break their leases. Lucas Vance is behind it. I understand. Keep them calm. I'll set up a video conference immediately. When she hung up, her face was grim. I was lying on the bed, but my ears were perked up like radar dishes. Here we go. The business soap opera begins. Lucas Vance. I know that clown from the original Ethan's Memories. He's been circling the Sterling family fortune for years, even tried to arrange a marriage. Toad Wants to Eat the Swan, a classic. This move is dirty. Pulling the anchor tenants out now, when the Sterling Center is already struggling, is a death sentence. Jessica's in deep trouble. She must be freaking out right now. But honestly, these tenants are just opportunists. If Lucas can poach them, why can't she poach his? Lucas's flagship property, the Global Trade Tower, is in the middle of a luxury brand upgrade, right? He just pushed out a bunch of second-tier brands, and they're all looking for a new home. If Jessica approached them right now with an offer of 6 months free rent and a joint marketing campaign, they'd be falling over themselves to sign with her. Then, she should leak a few rumors that Lucas's company is having cash flow problems, that he's cutting brands to free up capital. He's all about his image. He'd have to issue a denial, his stock would get jumpy, and that would keep him busy for a while. I was cackling internally at my own genius, purely as a spectator enjoying the drama. On the sofa, Jessica's tense posture began to relax. The tight knot in her brow smoothed out. She picked up her phone and tapped out a few quick messages. Then she opened her laptop to start the meeting. Just before she did, she glanced at me again. This time, her eyes weren't just cold and confused. They held something else. Something like the glint in a hunter's eye when they've spotted their prey. A chill ran down my spine. What the hell is with this woman? She doesn't seem worried at all anymore. And why is she looking at me like that? I have a very bad feeling about this. My $5 million and my G-Wagon aren't about to fly away, are they? When I woke up the next morning, Jessica was gone. The faint, cool scent of her perfume lingered in the air. I stretched, rolling out of the sinfully comfortable bed, feeling fantastic. The life of a kept man. So simple, so pure. I shuffled downstairs in my slippers, ready for a 5-star breakfast. In the dining room, Jenna was directing a maid setting the table. When she saw me, her eternally stoic expression twitched. Mister, Hayes, breakfast is ready. Also, Ms. Sterling wanted me to inform you that, from now on, your meals will be prepared by a Michelin 3-star culinary team. And she said to give you this. Jenna held out a sleek black credit card. This is for your monthly expenses. There is no credit limit. My eyes went wide. Michelin 3-star chefs? A black card with no limit? What? What is happening? Did the rich lady have a sudden stroke of generosity? Something is wrong. Very wrong. This is too good to be true. Yesterday, she puts the divorce on hold. Today she gives me this? It's a trap. A honey trap. She's trying to corrupt me with luxury, to make me forget my goal of getting divorced and living a life of blissful laziness. What a devious woman. But I love it. Please, corrupt me with all your money. On the outside, I remained calm, even managing a look of I'm not worthy as I accepted the card. Please thank Jessica for me. This is really too much. Jenna's mouth twitched again. She probably thought my acting was painfully over the top. I ignored her and sat down to my breakfast. I have to admit, the Michelin chef was no joke. Even a simple fried egg was a work of art, crispy on the outside, a perfect jammy yolk on the inside. As I ate, I scrolled through the news on my phone. The headline of the business section made me choke on my milk. Global Trade Tower exposed to potential capital strain. Multiple brand partnerships at risk. Below the headline were pictures of several executives from second-tier luxury brands standing outside the entrance of the Sterling Corporation headquarters. Holy crap. Seriously? Jessica moves that fast? I was just thinking about it last night, and she already made it happen. Her execution is terrifying. Is she some kind of business prodigy, and we just happen to think of the same thing? Yeah, that has to be it. I'm just an armchair quarterback. She's the seasoned CEO. It's perfectly reasonable she'd come up with the same strategy. Feeling much better about the situation, I finished my breakfast. Just as I was deciding between sunbathing in the garden and heading back upstairs to game, Jessica called. Come to my office. Her voice was flat. Now, you have 30 minutes. She hung up. I made a face. Again? Is she addicted to ordering me around now? Whatever. He who takes the money, takes the orders. I just got a black card with no limit. I'll go. It's like clocking in for the easiest job in the world. I changed my clothes and drove my G-Wagon leisurely toward the Sterling Corporation Tower. When I pulled into the executive parking garage, I saw a familiar face. Lucas Vance. He was surrounded by a swarm of reporters, his face pale and furious. He looked like a cornered animal. Mr. Vance, is it true your company is facing a cash flow crisis? Mr. Vance, we've heard several brands have unilaterally broken their contracts with a global trade tower and are moving to the Sterling Center. Do you have a comment? Mr. Vance, does the Sterling Corporation's swift counterattack mean your plans for a hostile takeover have failed? Lucas, his face a dark thundercloud, pushed his way through the reporters with the help of his security. His eyes locked onto me as I got out of my G-Wagon. His expression turned venomous. Ethan, he shoved a reporter aside and stormed toward me. You useless piece of trash. What are you so smug about? I held up my hands, the picture of innocence. Dude, who are you talking to? What am I smug about? I'm just here to clock in for my non-job. Don't play dumb with me. Lucas jabbed a finger in my face. There's no way Jessica came up with a plan like that on her own. It was you, wasn't it? You worthless parasite. You gave her the idea. Stop pretending. I was stunned. Is this guy delusional? Did the stock drop, break his brain? Me? Give her ideas? Don't look like I'm qualified for that. If I was that smart, would I have been arguing with my old boss over a PowerPoint deck? This is classic loser mentality. You lose the game, so you assume the other team cheated. Pathetic. Just sad. I sighed, looking at him with the pity one reserves for the profoundly stupid. Mr. Vance, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't just say whatever you want. I'm just a guy who married into money. What do I know about business strategy? If you have time to yell at me, you should probably be figuring out how to calm down your shareholders. My words were like gasoline on a fire. Lucas trembled with rage, raising his fist to hit me. Just then, a pair of sharp heels stopped beside me. Jessica had come down at some point, flanked by a few of her top executives. She looked at Lucas, her eyes as cold as a morgue slab. Mr. Vance, are you trying to touch my husband on my property? Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried a weight that made the air feel heavy. Lucas's fist froze in midair. He looked from Jessica to me, his face turning shades of red and white. Jessica Sterling, you. Fine. Both of you, just you wait. He spat out the threat before scrambling into his car and speeding away. The reporters immediately turned their cameras on us. Jessica ignored them completely. She turned her head slightly toward me and said, "Let's go. You're with me." I nodded and fell in a step behind her. As I passed, I heard it clearly, a single, tiny, almost imperceptible sound. A heartbeat, racing like someone had just finished a half-mile sprint. I paused, glancing up at her. Her face was still a mask of ice, but her ears were red again. Weird. Why is her heart beating so fast? Was she scared of Lucas? No way. She had the presence of a five-star general just now. Could it be because of me? Because she defended me? No way. The Ice Queen is melting? As if sensing my thoughts, Jessica suddenly picked up her pace. Keep up, she ordered, not looking back as she strode into the private elevator. I hurried to catch up. Inside, it was just the two of us. In the enclosed space, her cool, clean scent was more noticeable. I snuck a glance at her. Man, this woman is seriously beautiful. If she wasn't such a pain in the ass, she might actually be worth considering. Stop it. Ethan, you're 5 million. You're G-Wagon. Your glorious future of doing nothing. Do not waver in your revolutionary goals for something as trivial as beauty. Ding. The elevator doors opened. Jessica stepped out, then paused at the entrance to her office suite and looked back at me. Thank you, she said. For before. I blinked. Thank me for what? For. Her eyes darted away for a second. For having my back. Now I was really confused. Having her back? When did I do that? I was just standing there watching the show. Does calling Lucas Vance an idiot count as having her back? This woman's logic is getting harder and harder to follow. I scratched my head. Oh, sure. No problem. Jessica watched me for a few seconds, then turned and walked into her office. Come in. I followed her inside, and saw there was someone else in the room. Jessica's father, the chairman of the Sterling Corporation, David Sterling. He was a stern-looking older man who radiated authority. When he saw me, his brow furrowed so deeply you could have lost a coin in it. "What are you doing here? This is a place of business, not a playground for idle loafers like you." David's voice was laced with contempt. I rolled my eyes. Great, another one who hates me. I guess I can't blame him. His perfect daughter married a loser like me. Of course, he's not going to be my biggest fan. But dude, you're a little behind on the news. Your daughter just won a major battle, and you're here yelling at me? Dad, Jessica said, her voice cutting through the tension. I asked him to come. You asked him? For what? David looked completely baffled. What could he possibly contribute to this company? The situation with Lucas Vance, Jessica said, dropping a bombshell. He's the one who solved it. Me? David Sterling. We both stared at her as if she'd just started speaking in tongues. Lady, don't just make stuff up. I can't take credit for that. I literally did nothing. What is she trying to do? Set me up? Make me the target for all her enemies so she can operate safely in the background. What a move. The heart of a capitalist is a dark and treacherous place. Jessica acted as if she hadn't seen my shocked expression. She spoke to her father in a calm, even tone. The transformation strategy for the Sterling Center and the counterattack against Lucas Vance. Both were Ethan's ideas. David Sterling's stern face was now a perfect picture of disbelief. He looked me up and down, his skepticism practically dripping from his eyes. Him? You're telling me it was him? Yes, it was him, Jessica said, her tone leaving no room for argument. I just stood there completely frozen. It's over. I'm done for. There's no explaining my way out of this one. How did I, a man whose only ambition was to be a professional slacker, suddenly become a master strategist? What in the world is Jessica Sterling planning? I stuck a look at her and found her looking back at me. And in her eyes was that, a flicker of a mischievous smile? No, I must have been seeing things. Ice queens don't smile. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. David slammed his hand on the desk, making a loud crack. Jessica, don't lie to protect him. I know what kind of man he is better than you do. I shrank back, trying to make myself as small as possible. You're right, sir. I'm a total loser. Your daughter has lost her mind. Please, take her to see a doctor. But Jessica remained perfectly composed. Dad, whether I'm lying or not, the results will speak for themselves. Starting today, Ethan will be my special assistant, with full authority over the Sterling Center renovation project. Her announcement left both me and her father completely speechless. Special assistant? Full authority? Are you serious? Lady, I can barely use Excel, and you're putting me in charge of $1 billion project? Are you trying to bankrupt your own family? No, I have to refuse. I can't do this job. My goal is to do nothing, not work 24/7. I was about to open my mouth when Jessica shot me a look. It was a cold look, but underneath it, I could clearly read a warning. What does she mean? She's warning me not to say anything? Oh, I get it. This is an act. It's all for her father. She wants to use me, an outsider, to push through her reforms. If it succeeds, she gets the credit. If it fails, I get the blame. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a shark. Having figured it out, I decided to play along. What's so hard about being a nominal assistant? As long as I don't actually have to do any work, I can talk the talk. So I puffed out my chest and adopted the look of a reluctant genius who had just been exposed. Dad, I said, mimicking Jessica's tone, it's all right if you don't believe in me. Give me 3 months. If the Sterling Center's performance doesn't improve, I will divorce Jessica and walk away with nothing. Haha, I've laid it all on the line. Now no one can force me to work, right? The project is doomed to fail anyway. In 3 months, I'll be free, and I won't even have to take the $5 million. A clean break. How cool is that? David was taken aback by my sudden display of confidence. He looked suspiciously from me to his daughter. Jessica's lips seemed to curve upward for a fraction of a second, so fast it might have been my imagination. Fine. David slapped his hand on the desk again. 3 months it is. If you can't do it, you get the hell out of this family. It's a deal, I agreed readily. David stormed out of the office, still fuming. Once again, it was just me and Jessica. What? I started to ask her what the hell she was playing at. But she spoke first. Everything you said before. The food hall, the esports arena, the pet experience, the rooftop cinema. I want a detailed, formal proposal on my desk by the end of the day. I stood there, speechless. You have got to be kidding me. You actually wanted to work? I was just spitballing. I wasn't serious. I don't know how to write a proposal. All I know how to do is talk a big game. I must have looked like I was about to be physically ill. I was just making that up. You can't take it seriously. I'm taking it seriously. Jessica walked toward me. At 5'9", she was taller than me in her heels. She leaned in, her eyes locked on mine. Didn't you say you could guarantee a massive increase in foot traffic in 3 months? Her face was so close I could feel the cool, clean air of her breath. I folded. This woman's presence is overwhelming. Fine, whatever. If I have to, I have to. It's just a proposal. I wrote hundreds of them in my last life. I could just recycle some old ideas, fudge some numbers. It should be good enough to fool her. I'll just follow the plan I came up with yesterday. First floor is a food hall. Get all the viral pop-ups, the Nashville hot chicken, the authentic ramen. Make it a scene. Second floor is the esports arena. Partner with Riot for a League of Legends tournament. Third floor is the pet experience. Not just cat and dog cafes. Get some alpacas, some raccoons. My mind was racing with ideas when Jessica suddenly straightened up, putting distance between us. Good, she said, dropping the 2 words like stones before returning to her desk. I've had an office set up for you next door. You're not leaving until that proposal is finished. Me? Tyrant. Capitalist pig. You have no soul. I trudged into the office next door. It was huge, with a floor-to-ceiling window offering a stunning view of the city. A brand-new, top-of-the-line computer sat on the desk. I sighed, sat down, and resigned myself to my fate. The proposal wasn't actually that hard to write. The core ideas were already there. I just had to translate my scattered thoughts into coherent, professional-sounding text. As I typed, I continued my silent commentary. This office decor is so dated. The walls need some modern art. The lighting is too harsh. Needs warmer tones. And this company logo. Who designed this? It's hideous. It has to go. I was deep in the zone when there was a knock on the door. Jenna walked in with a cup of coffee. Mr. Hayes, Ms. Sterling asked me to bring this to you. She thought you might need to pick me up. I looked at the cup of what was clearly very expensive Blue Mountain coffee and grumbled internally. A wolf bringing flowers to a sheep. She's just trying to caffeinate me, so I can work harder for her, isn't she? But it does smell amazing. I took a sip. It was incredible. I spent the rest of the afternoon pounding out a 5,000-word proposal. By the time I was done, I felt completely drained. Damn, this is more work than my last job. Why am I, a man destined for a life of leisure, being subjected to this torture? That's it. The second this project is over, I'm getting that divorce. Nothing can stop me. Not even Jesus himself. I mean it. I emailed the proposal to Jessica and then melted into my chair, unwilling to move a single muscle. A few minutes later, Jessica walked in. She was holding her tablet, displaying the proposal I had just sent. She scrolled through it page by page, her expression intense. I felt a knot of anxiety in my stomach. She's not going to see through my bluff, is she? Probably not. I threw in enough business jargon to make it sound legit. After she finished reading, Jessica was silent for a long time. Just as I thought she was about to tear into me for making it all up, she spoke. This is very good. I was stunned. Very good? She's complimenting me? Did hell just freeze over? Especially the part about redesigning the logo and upgrading the overall visual identity, she continued, looking up at me. There was a glimmer of something I'd never seen in her eyes before. Respect. I shifted uncomfortably. Oh no, does this woman actually think I'm some kind of genius? That's it. I'm screwed. My cover is blown. How am I ever going to get back to my life of doing nothing now? However, she said, her tone shifting back to business. The plan needs more detail. For example, specific incentives for new tenants, a marketing budget and timeline, and protocols for the quarantine and care of the alpacas. Me? Alpaca? Quarantine? Care protocols? How the hell should I know? I've never raised an alpaca. Is this woman a demon? A micromanaging demon? I need a supplementary proposal with those details on my desk tomorrow morning, she said, placing the tablet on the desk, giving me no chance to object. Tomorrow? I wailed. Is that a problem? She asked, raising an eyebrow. No, No problem, I surrendered. Yes, it's a huge problem. I'm already dead on my feet. And you want another proposal tomorrow? Are you even human? Jessica seemed pleased with my obedience. Let's go. Time to leave, she said. I practically jumped out of my chair in relief. Go where? The gala, she said simply. Right? The stupid corporate gala. Ugh. I have to go be her arm candy again. Whatever. At least there will be free food and drinks. I hope the buffet is good. We took the elevator down together. In the underground garage, an elegant Maybach was parked next to my G-Wagon. Jessica's driver was already waiting. She opened the car door and looked back at me. Get in. I drove, I said, pointing to my G-Wagon. That car is too flashy, she said with a frown. Flashy? Lady, my official title is useless husband who married into money. A flashy car is part of the character. Besides, you're the one who gave it to me. Despite my internal protests, I obediently got in her car. Inside, Jessica handed me a box. Change into this. I opened it. Inside was a custom-tailored suit and a Patek Philippe watch. Holy crap, she's sparing no expense. This outfit is worth more than my parents' house. What's her angle here? Is she trying to rebrand me as some kind of elite executive? That completely contradicts my useless husband persona. Tonight, you're not the Sterling family's kept husband, Jessica said, looking out the window. You are the project lead for the Sterling Center. You are my business partner. Something shifted inside me. Business partner? Hearing those two words from her, it feels different. Is she trying to build me up? Why? I changed into the suit. I have to admit, clothes really do make the man. The person staring back at me in the reflection looked like a genuine success story. Jessica turned and looked at me, her gaze lingering for a couple of seconds. Acceptable, she commented, before quickly turning her head away. I didn't see it, but the back of her neck had turned a deep, telltale shade of pink. The gala was held in the penthouse ballroom of a five-star hotel. Crystal chandeliers, designer gowns, the air thick with the smell of money and expensive perfume. Following beside Jessica, I felt like a stray dog that had wandered into the Westminster Dog Show. Wow, this is just like in the movies. That guy's watch has to be a Vacheron Constantine. 7 figures, easy. And that woman's necklace. Is that the new Cartier collection? Filthy, decadent capitalists. As I was silently judging everyone, Jessica's voice murmured in my ear. Stop gawking. You're starting to drool. I jumped, quickly wiping my mouth. How did she know? Does she have eyes in the back of her head? Jessica's arrival immediately drew the attention of the entire room. She moved with the grace of a queen, a natural center of gravity. People flocked to her, offering greetings and pleasantries. Jessica, you look stunning. I heard you closed a few major deals recently. Truly impressive. Jessica handled it all with a practiced ease, her face fixed in a polite, professional smile. I stood beside her like a well-dressed bodyguard. This is so boring. It's just a high society circle jerk. Where's the food? Where's my buffet? Just as I was scanning the room for the catering, a grating voice cut through the noise. Well, if it isn't Ms. Sterling, did you bring your little pet project with you? What's a freeloader like him doing at a place like this? Is he here to bust tables? I turned. It was Lucas Vance again. Standing next to him was a slick-haired guy who looked at me with open contempt. This guy again. He's like a bad rash. And who's his friend? He looks like a poodle in a suit. Lucas, watch your mouth, Jessica said, her voice dropping a few degrees. Am I wrong? Lucas sneered. Everyone in Port Sterling knows you're keeping a useless husband. What? Did you bring him out tonight to show him what real work looks like? The poodle man chimed in. Yes, seriously. A grown man living off his wife. Have you no shame? The people around us were starting to stare, their eyes full of amusement. Jessica's hands clenched into fists. Oh, the boss is about to blow. But I can't let her handle this. A woman of her stature arguing with these lowlifes? It's beneath her. It's time for me to show them my true skills, I run in my mouth. I stepped forward, positioning myself in front of Jessica, and smiled cheerfully at Lucas. You know what, Mr. Vance? You're right. I'm living off my wife. But it's not a job just anyone can get. I patted my own cheek. First, you have to be as handsome as I am. Then, I gestured toward Jessica. And second, you need a wife who is as beautiful, as brilliant, and as willing to let you live off her as mine is. I paused, then looked at Lucas with an expression of deep sympathy. And you, Mr. Vance? You're not as handsome as me, and as for a wife. Oh, right, you don't have one. You couldn't be a kept man, even if you wanted to. Bummer, huh? Someone in the crowd snickered. Lucas's face turned a shade of eggplant purple. You piece of trash. How dare you insult me? Insult you? I would never, I said innocently. I'm just jealous of you. You're so successful. You've managed to run your company's stock into the ground all by yourself. Me? I just have to sit at home while my wife makes all the money. It's a tough life. Lucas was sputtering, unable to form a coherent sentence. The poodle man stepped in, jabbing a finger at me. Who the hell do you think you are? Do you know who this is? This is Leo Fisher of Apex Holdings. And Apex is currently considering a valuation of the Sterling Corporation for a potential acquisition. A light bulb went on in my head. Oh, so he brought back up Apex Holdings? Never heard of them. Probably some second-rate investment firm. A valuation? An acquisition? Who are you trying to scare? The Sterling Corporation might be in trouble, but it's still a giant. You think you could just swallow a whole? This Leo Fisher character doesn't seem too bright. He's being used as a pawn and doesn't even know it. Before I could say anything, Jessica spoke. Her voice was like ice shards. Apex Holdings? You mean the firm that got its start in insider trading, the one that was fined by the SEC last year for falsifying financial records? Leo Fisher's face went white. You're lying. Am I? I think you know the truth, Mr. Fisher. Jessica took a step forward, her presence commanding the space around her. You want to acquire Sterling? Fine. Be my guest. I'd love to see if Apex Holdings has the stomach for it. She paused, her gaze sweeping over Lucas and Leo, before finally landing on me. And one more thing. He is not useless. Her voice was quiet, but it carried to every corner of the silent ballroom. He is my husband, Ethan Hayes, and he is my most important business partner. The room erupted in whispers. Everyone was staring at me, their eyes wide with disbelief. I could feel their gazes on me like spotlights, trying to see through my facade. I was just as stunned as they were. Most important business partner? Lady, you're taking this act way too far. I don't deserve that title. Well, there goes my reputation. Now the whole city thinks I'm not useless. How am I supposed to enjoy my life of leisure now? Jessica didn't spare another glance for Lucas or Leo. She took my hand and turned to leave. Her hand was cool, but her palm was slightly damp. She led me through the crowd and out onto the ballroom's terrace. The night air was cool and refreshing. She let go of my hand and stood with her back to me, looking out at the city lights. Why did you stand up for me back there? She asked, her voice soft. I scratched my head. I couldn't just stand there and let them insult my wife, could I? Even if we're only married in name. Duh, you're my ticket to financial freedom. If someone insults my golden goose, of course I'm going to defend it. Silence stretched between us. For a long moment, I thought she wasn't going to say anything else. Thank you, she said. That was the second time she had thanked me today. No problem, I replied awkwardly. The atmosphere was a little tense. I cleared my throat, trying to find a new topic. So, that Apex Holdings firm, are they really a big deal? Better get some intel on the enemy. If they're really that powerful, I should probably convince her to sell the company so we can split the money and run. They're nothing but clowns, Jessica said, her voice dripping with contempt. Their biggest asset is the development rights to the land in the West Side Industrial Park. But not for long. I blinked. What do you mean? The West Side Industrial Park? I remember something about that. A government-backed green energy project, huge potential. If Apex got the rights to that, they must have some real power. She said, not for long. Does that mean she has a way to take it from them? No way. The deal has already been announced. The contracts are probably already signed. How could she possibly steal it now unless she could find a better partner than Apex and convince the government to reverse its decision? That's next to impossible, unless she could get a major player, a giant like American Energy Solutions, to step in. But why would a massive national corporation care about a small project in Port Sterling? Wait a minute. The chairman of AES, his name is Donovan? General Carl Donovan? I remember reading an article in my past life. He was looking for a long-lost friend from his army days. And that friend, his last name was Sterling. A crazy idea sparked in my mind. No way. It can't be that much of a coincidence. In the original Ethan's memories, Jessica's grandfather was a decorated veteran. Harrison Sterling? He fought in Vietnam, right? I was still reeling from my own train of thought when Jessica suddenly turned around. Her eyes were shining in the darkness. Ethan, she said, walking toward me. How did you know about General Donovan? Me. My brain shut down completely. I don't know any General Donovan, I stammered, backing away until I hit the terrace railing. My heart was pounding against my ribs. Oh, crap. She can actually hear me. She can really hear my thoughts. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't my imagination. I'm so dead. All those things I thought about her. She heard all of it, calling her an ice queen, a tyrant, wondering what it would be like to kiss her. This is it. The most embarrassing moment of my entire life. Can I just jump off this terrace right now? My face was burning. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Jessica watched my frantic meltdown, a ghost of a smile playing on her lips. It was like a stone skipping across a frozen lake, sending ripples through her icy composure. You don't know. She took another step, trapping me in the corner. Then what exactly were you just thinking about? I wasn't thinking about anything. I insisted, my voice cracking. Stay calm. Ethan, stay calm. Deny everything. It was a coincidence. Just a lucky guess. I could say I saw it in the news. Yeah, that's it. Really? Jessica's lips curved into a definite smile. It was the first real smile I had ever seen from her, and it was more terrifying than her usual glare. Then why don't you take another lucky guess and tell me who else was in my grandfather's unit besides Carl Donovan? Me? How the hell would I know that? I haven't memorized her family tree. She's doing this on purpose. She's toying with me. She's enjoying watching me squirm. This is infuriating. And to think I actually felt sorry for her, wanted to help her. She's been playing me like a fiddle this whole time. I was so flustered, I could feel my face turning beet red. Seeing my expression, Jessica seemed to be in a very good mood. She finally stopped interrogating me and leaned against the railing, looking out at the city. I've been able to hear your thoughts since the day we were supposed to sign the divorce papers, she said calmly, as if she were discussing the weather. My heart sank. So it's true. At first, I thought I was hallucinating from the stress, she continued. It wasn't until you laid out the entire revitalization plan for the Sterling Center that I knew. Those thoughts were yours. She turned her head, her gaze deep and searching. Ethan, who are you? The question stopped me cold. Who am I? I'm Ethan Hayes, a corporate drone from another universe, a guy who just wants to slack off. But I couldn't tell her that, could I? She wouldn't believe me. She'd think I was insane and have me committed. Can't tell the truth. Absolutely not. I have to invent a plausible backstory. I'll tell her. I'm actually a reclusive business prodigy who grew tired of the corporate world and decided to become a trophy husband just to get away from it all. Yes, that's perfect. It explains how I know so much. And it makes me sound noble and aloof, like a man who scoffs at money. It's flawless. I cleared my throat, ready to begin my performance. Jessica, the truth is... Don't bother. Jessica cut me off, her voice flat. I can hear you workshopping your little story right now. Me? Damn it. I forgot she could hear my thoughts. How am I supposed to play this game? I gave up. I slumped against the railing like a defeated rooster. So, what are you going to do to me? I asked, my voice full of resignation. Hand me over to scientists for dissection? Call the cops. Jessica looked at me and suddenly laughed. It wasn't a cold laugh or a mocking one. It was a genuine, quiet, warm laugh. Like the first thaw of spring. I stared at her, mesmerized. Wow, she's even more beautiful when she laughs. Why would I do that? She asked. You're my most important business partner, remember? She put a special emphasis on the words business partner. I pouted. Right, because I'm useful. She just wants a free, 24/7 business strategy AI. Capitalists. Every single one of them is ruthless. You're right, she said, nodding, actually admitting it. I was so taken aback I couldn't speak. So do we have a deal? She held out her hand. You help me secure my position at Sterling, and I'll give you anything you want. Anything I want. I looked at her. The $5 million, the G-Wagon? More than that. Her eyes shone in the moonlight. Anything I have to give. I looked at her outstretched hand, my mind racing. Is this a deal with the devil? If I say yes, my dream of a quiet life is over. I'll be dragged into all this family drama and corporate warfare. But if I say no, she's not going to just let me walk away. And her offer is tempting. Anything I have to give. That sounds a little loaded, doesn't it? Whatever. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. It's not like I can escape now, anyway. I might as well help her deal with these clowns. That Apex Holdings firm and Lucas Vance really get on my nerves. I took a deep breath and shook her hand. All right, I'll help you. Her hand was still cool, but this time I could feel a slight tremor in her palm. The moment our hands touched, the atmosphere shifted, becoming charged with something new. I quickly let go. So, about General Donovan, I said, changing the subject. My grandfather did have a friend named Carl Donovan in his unit, and he's the chairman of American Energy Solutions, Jessica confirmed, her expression returning to its usual composure. They lost touch years ago. My grandfather has been looking for him ever since. Holy crap, it's actually true. What are the odds? So what's the plan? I asked. Tomorrow, she said, you're coming with me to visit my grandfather. The next morning, I was in the middle of a glorious dream about racing my G-Wagon when Jessica unceremoniously dragged me out of bed. Get up. We're going to the family estate. I blinked, my eyes struggling to focus on the impeccably dressed Jessica. My brain was still booting up. It's 7 in the morning. Do capitalists not require sleep? The family estate? Oh, right. To see her grandfather about the General Donovan situation. Goodbye, sweet sleep. Goodbye, my life of leisure. It was nice knowing you. I dragged myself out of bed and got ready, with Jessica watching me the entire time. She didn't rush me, but her silent, impatient stare was more effective than any alarm clock. On the way to the estate, I was dozing in the back of the car when Jessica handed me a file. Read this. It's the complete file on Apex Holdings and the West Side Development Project. I yawned and took the file. She's pretty thorough. Looks like she's been preparing for this for a while. This Leo Fisher really is an idiot. Apex has been expanding too quickly. They're over-leveraged, and they're completely dependent on bank loans. This West Side project is their last hope. If we can kill this deal, Apex will go under. And the key is General Donovan. If we can get AES interested in the project with their reputation and resources, the state government will definitely reconsider the deal with Apex. I handed the file back to her. Read it. The plan is solid. Jessica gave me a surprised look, as if impressed by my speed, but she didn't say anything. What's so surprising? In my old job, I analyzed reports 10 times this thick. This is nothing. The Sterling family estate was a beautiful, traditional mansion nestled on a hillside overlooking the city. As soon as we arrived, a butler met us at the door. Ms. Sterling, Mr. Hayes, the general is waiting for you in his study. We followed the butler into a large, wood-paneled room. An old man with a full head of white hair, still straight-backed and imposing, was practicing calligraphy. This was General Harrison Sterling. He had the unmistakable aura of a lifelong military man, an intensity that made his son, David, seem soft in comparison. Grandfather, Jessica said respectfully. The general put down his brush. His sharp eyes landed first on Jessica, then shifted to me. So you're Ethan Hayes, he said, his voice a low rumble. Yes, sir. It's an honor to meet you, I said, forcing a smile. Wow, this guy is intimidating. His eyes are like daggers. He's not going to hit me with his cane, is he? The general grunted. The Sterling family does not support freeloaders. Great, another one. Are all the Sterlings stamped from the same mold? Grandfather, Jessica interjected, we came today because we need your help with something important. She explained the situation with the West Side Project, Apex Holdings, and her idea to contact General Donovan. When she finished, General Sterling was silent for a long time. Carl Donovan, he murmured, his eyes distant with memory. He took a bullet for me on the battlefield. We were brothers. But after the war, we were assigned to different units, and we lost touch. He sighed. I've been looking for him for years, but with no luck. How are you so sure the chairman of AES is the same man? Jessica looked at me. My scalp tingled. Why are you looking at me? Is it my turn to perform again? How am I supposed to explain this? Tell them I read about it in the news in a past life? My mind raced, concocting a plausible story. Got it. I clear my throat. General, I have a friend who's a journalist in D.C. He was interviewing the executive board at AES once, and he happened to hear General Donovan mention one of his old army buddies. He said the man he respected most in the world was his company commander from the Vietnam War, Captain Harrison Sterling. Perfect. Blame it on a non-existent friend. There's no way they can check that. General Sterling shot to his feet, his eyes wide with emotion. He really said that? What else did he say? He said, I continued, my face a mask of sincerity. He said that you once held off an entire enemy battalion by yourself with a single machine gun to cover your unit's retreat. He said you were a true hero. I completely made that up, stolen from a dozen war movies I'd seen. But when General Sterling heard it, his eyes welled up with tears. That kid, he still remembers. He still remembers. He whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Even Jessica was looking at me with surprise. What's that look for? Is she impressed with my lying skills? Or did she actually believe me? Whatever. The important thing is the general believed me. Grandfather, Jessica said at the right moment, if General Donovan still remembers you, then we have a chance. Will you try to contact him? The general composed himself and nodded. I don't have his contact information, but I can fly to D.C. and go to the AES headquarters myself. After all we've been through, he'll see me. That's wonderful. Jessica's face lit up. However, the general said, his gaze shifting back to me, this was your idea? Why, yes, sir, I stammered. General Sterling nodded, his expression softening slightly. I suppose you're not completely useless after all. Well, thank you so much. An upgrade from freeloader to not completely useless. I am truly honored. Jessica, come with me for a moment, the general said. They disappeared into an adjoining tea room. Left alone in the study, I started to look around. This old man has good taste. Is that a real Jackson Pollock on the wall? And all these books. The Art of War, first editions. A real history buff. Huh, what's this? Tucked away on a bookshelf, I found a small, dusty picture frame. It was an old black and white photo of two young soldiers in uniform, their arms around each other's shoulders, grinning at the camera. One of them was clearly a young Harrison Sterling. The other one, my eyes widened. Is that Marcus Vance? Lucas Vance's father? I remembered him from the original Ethan's memories. Marcus Vance, founder of Vance Industries, Lucas's father. The Sterlings and the Vances had been family friends for generations, but their relationship soured due to business rivalries. They were in the army together? Well, this complicates things. Just then, Jessica and her grandfather came out of the tea room. The general's expression was grim. Ethan, he said, his voice serious, I want you to tell me the truth. Who are you, really? And what are your intentions with Jessica? My stomach dropped. What happened? Everything was fine a minute ago. Why is he interrogating me again? Jessica, I must have said something to him in there. I glanced at Jessica, but she avoided my gaze. This woman, she used me and then threw me under the bus. General, I started to defend myself, but he held up a hand. You don't have to say anything. He walked toward me, his eyes boring into mine. I don't care who you were, and I don't care what your motives are. From this day forward, you have only one job. What job? I asked, my heart pounding. Protect Jessica, he said, his voice heavy. At any cost. I was speechless. The plot was twisting so fast, I couldn't keep up. Protect Jessica? Why? Is there some other threat besides Apex Holdings? No, his expression. This isn't about business. This feels more like he's entrusting her to me. Is Jessica in some kind of danger? I looked at Jessica. Her face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. General, what's going on? I had to ask. He just sighed and waved his hand, dismissing us. The ride back from the estate was heavy with unspoken tension. Jessica stared out the window, silent. I could tell something was wrong. Something serious. What did the general say to her in that room? I've never seen her like this. It's making me uneasy. Well, if she doesn't want to talk about it, I won't push her. My job is to protect her. I'll deal with whatever comes our way. When we got back to the house, Jessica went straight to her room and locked the door. She didn't come down for dinner. I was worried. I asked Jenna to check on her, but Jenna said she didn't want to see anyone. I sat alone at the enormous dining table, the Michelin star food tasting like cardboard. What is wrong with this woman? So her grandfather said a few things to her. Is that any reason to fall apart like this? I thought she was tougher than that. I have to go check on her. What if she does something stupid? If she's gone, who's going to give me my $5 million and my G-Wagon? With that perfectly selfish justification, I had the chef prepare a bowl of soup and carried it up to the master bedroom. The door was unlocked. I pushed it open. The room was dark. Jessica was curled up on the sofa, hugging her knees to her chest. She looked small and vulnerable. She was a world away from the powerful Ice Queen CEO I knew. My heart gave a strange little twist. I walked over, set the soup on the coffee table, and turned on a small lamp. In the soft light, I could see that her eyes were red and swollen. She had been crying. Wow, she was actually crying? Is this the same Jessica Sterling? What could possibly have happened to make her cry like this? "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "I brought you something to eat," I said, gesturing to the soup. "Jenna said you haven't eaten all day." She didn't move. I sighed and sat down on the sofa next to her. "What did your grandfather say to you?" I asked, unable to stop myself. She was silent for a long time. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "He told me I'm not his biological granddaughter." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I was so shocked I couldn't speak. "What? Not his biological granddaughter? What is this, a daytime soap opera?" "But David Sterling only has one daughter." "My father, David, he can't have children," Jessica said, her voice trembling. "I was adopted from an orphanage." My mind was reeling. This was a massive revelation. That explains it. That's why David is so hard on her, almost cruel at times. That's why her other relatives always look at her funny. And that's why the general said what he said to me. He wasn't just asking me to protect his granddaughter. He was asking me, an outsider, to protect this girl who shared no blood with him, but whom he clearly still loved. "No one knows except my grandfather and my father. Not even my mother," Jessica said with a bitter laugh. "He told me today because he wanted me to understand that I have no right to inherit the Sterling fortune. He told me to stop fighting, to find an ordinary man, and live a quiet life. So he doesn't want us to contact General Donovan?" I finally understood. "That's right," she nodded. "He said the Sterling family's problems shouldn't be my burden to bear." I looked at her, a strange mix of emotions churning inside me. So this was the secret she had been carrying all this time. This was the source of the loneliness and insecurity hidden beneath her icy exterior. And for the first time, I felt a pang of genuine sympathy for her. What a terrible position to be in. To fight your whole life to protect your family's legacy, only to be told that you're an outsider, that none of it is yours. If that were me, I'd be devastated too. "So are you going to give up?" I asked. She looked up at me, her red-rimmed eyes meeting mine. "I don't know," she said, her voice full of confusion. "I've worked so hard for so long, just to prove that I was good enough that I could protect this family. But now, who says you can't?" I interrupted. I looked her straight in the eye. "Who says an adopted daughter has no right to inherit? Who says a woman can't be the head of a family? What is this, the Dark Ages? Since when is bloodline the only thing that matters?" "Jessica, listen to me." I took her by the shoulders, forcing her to look at me. "It doesn't matter if you share their blood or not. What matters is that you are the CEO of the Sterling Corporation. Right now, this company is yours. As for your father and your grandfather, their opinions don't matter. You don't have to prove anything to them. You just have to prove it to yourself. We're going to get that West Side project. We're going to crush Apex Holdings. And we're going to make sure Lucas Vance never bothers you again. We're going to make every single person who ever looked down on you get on their knees and call you queen." Okay, that was a little dramatic. I sound like I'm trying to recruit her into a cult. But I think it's working. Jessica stared at me, tears glistening in her eyes. She had probably never heard anyone speak to her like that before. "But my grandfather. I'll handle your grandfather," I said, puffing out my chest. "We're going to meet General Donovan, and that's final. How am I going to handle him? I have no idea, but I'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, I'll fly to D.C. myself and camp out at the EES headquarters. There's no way he can resist my powers of persuasion." Looking at my confident expression, Jessica finally cracked a smile through her tears. It was like the sun breaking through after a week of rain. "And how are you going to do that?" she asked, her voice still thick with emotion. "Because." I leaned in close, my voice a low whisper. "Your husband is a man with cheat codes." Her face flushed a deep crimson. She quickly pushed me away and stood up, turning her back to me. "Who?" Who's your husband? You're shameless. I couldn't help but smile at her flustered reaction. So the Ice Queen can get embarrassed after all. It's kind of cute. The oppressive atmosphere in the room had lifted. Finish your soup, I said. She didn't turn around, but she picked up the bowl and started to eat. Watching her, a new thought entered my mind. Maybe helping her win this fight could actually be fun. As expected, General Sterling made no move to go to Washington. Jessica's mood was still subdued, but at least she wasn't a recluse anymore. She went back to the office, putting on a brave face and diving into her work. I knew she was waiting for me to make good on my promise to handle her grandfather. Damn, I talked a big game. Now how do I deliver? I can't just confront the general directly. He'd probably throw me out of the house. I need a plan, a way to make him want to go to D.C. I sat in my special assistant office, racking my brain. I've got it. I remember the old photograph in his study. General Sterling and Marcus Vance. If they were that close, the general must know what kind of man Marcus really is. He knows Lucas Vance is targeting his family, but he hasn't done anything, probably out of respect for their old friendship. But what if he found out that Lucas wasn't just attacking his company? What if he found out that Lucas was planning to hurt the granddaughter he adores, using the dirtiest tactics imaginable? A wicked smile spread across my face. You have to play by the rules when you're dealing with an honorable man. But when you're dealing with scum, you have to get in the gutter with them. I pulled out my phone and made a call. It was to a private investigator I knew from my past life, a guy with connections everywhere. Turns out, his counterpart exists in this universe too. Crow, it's me. I need you to dig up everything you can on a guy named Lucas Vance. I want all his dirty laundry, especially his personal life. You got it, Ethan. I'll have something for you in 3 days. I hung up and leaned back in my chair, plotting my next move. The dirt alone isn't enough. I need someone to deliver it to the general. Someone he trusts implicitly. It can't be me, and it can't be Jessica. It has to be someone the general would never question. And someone who's a bit of a gossip. An image popped into my head. David Sterling, Jessica's adoptive father. My dear father-in-law. He may be old-fashioned, but he's devoted to the general. And he still thinks I'm a worthless loser. Imagine his face when he discovers that his useless son-in-law is a secret genius, and the promising young man he so admires, Lucas Vance, is a complete degenerate. The drama will be spectacular. The plan was set. For the next 2 days, I did nothing. I showed up at the office, drank coffee, read the news, and occasionally sauntered past Jessica's office, enduring her silent. Are you going to do something or not? Glares. I just smiled back cryptically. Patience, my dear. The show is about to begin. Jessica was about to lose her mind. What is he doing? Is this his brilliant plan? To just sit there? Did he lie to me? Damn it. Why did I ever trust him? I could hear her internal screaming, but I remained perfectly calm. On the 3rd day, an email from Crow arrived. The attachment was an encrypted file. I opened it. The contents were juicier than a primetime drama. Lucas Vance, the golden boy of Port Sterling society, had a very messy private life. Photos of him with models, at exclusive, debauch parties, even some involving illegal substances. But the real prize was an audio recording. It was a conversation between Lucas and his poodle friend, Leo Fisher. That Jessica Sterling, she's such a prude. Just wait until I get my hands on her company. I'll make her beg. And that loser, Ethan, thinks he can compete with me. The first thing I'm going to do when I'm his brother-in-law is break his legs. I clicked my tongue. Amateur. You never put that kind of thing on tape. I sent the files anonymously to David Sterling's private email address. Then, I made myself a cup of tea and waited. Half an hour later, David Sterling's roar of fury echoed through the executive floor. That bastard. That filthy animal. He burst out of his office, his face purple with rage, clutching a tablet. He stormed into the elevator, heading for the garage. The fish has taken the bait. I followed at a leisurely pace. David broke every speed limit on the way to the family estate. He barged into the study, where General Sterling was practicing his golf swing. Dad, you have to see this. Look at what this animal has been planning. David slammed the tablet down on the desk. The general frowned and picked it up. The more he read, the darker his expression became. The more he listened, the more his hands trembled. When he heard the audio recording, he brought his fist down on the desk with a mighty crash, cracking the solid oak. Marcus Vance, you raised a monster. A fire ignited in the old general's eyes. It was the look of a man who had seen real combat. I hid outside the door, not daring to breathe. This is better than television. Dad, that bastard Lucas isn't just trying to ruin our company. He wants to hurt Jessica. We can't let him get away with it. David was practically foaming at the mouth. Jessica, Jessica. The general whispered her name, and the anger in his eyes slowly turned to fear and regret. He remembered her tear-streaked face. He remembered the cruel words he had said to her. I'm an old fool, he roared, slamming his fist on the desk again, his face a mask of remorse. He looked up at David, his eyes blazing. Get the car. We're going to the airport. The airport? What? To Washington, a general bellowed. I will crawl to Carl Donovan's office, if I have to. No one, and I mean no one, messes with my granddaughter. Outside the door, a slow smile spread across my face. Mission accomplished. I turned to leave, ready to disappear back into the shadows, and walked right into a soft, fragrant wall. Jessica, she must have followed me. She was standing right behind me, her eyes wide. They were full of shock, confusion, and something else. Something I couldn't quite decipher. Ow, how did you do that? She whispered. I winked and put a finger to my lips. Trade secret. And with that, I walked away, leaving her standing there, watching me go. Nailed it. Nothing like a dramatic exit. I bet she's looking at me in a whole new light now. I didn't see the small, gentle smile that graced her lips after I had gone. General Sterling was a man of his word. He was on a plane to Washington that same afternoon. David Sterling, thoroughly shaken by the whole ordeal, had a complete change of heart about me. He called me into his office and clapped me on the shoulder. Ethan, my boy, I was wrong about you. You're a quiet one, but you're brilliant. Your ability to switch sides is truly impressive, sir. I was just doing my part, I said humbly. You keep up the good work. The future of this company is in your and Jessica's hands. I suppressed a groan. Please, no. I'm just a temp. As soon as this is over, I'm out of here. With the internal conflict resolved, it was time to deal with our enemies. Jessica was ruthlessly efficient. The day after the general left, she called a press conference and announced that the Sterling Corporation would be partnering with American Energy Solutions to develop the West Side Industrial Park. The news sent shockwaves through the Port Sterling business community. American Energy Solutions? The national energy giant? Partnering with Sterling? No one believed it. Leo Fisher of Apex Holdings publicly mocked her, saying she was delusional. Lucas Vance, apparently out of his father's doghouse, vowed to make her pay for her lies. 3 days later, AES posted a press release on their official website. It was short and to the point. American Energy Solutions was investing $1 billion in a joint venture with the Sterling Corporation to develop the West Side Project. The press release was signed by the chairman himself, General Carl Donovan. The city fell silent. Everyone who had laughed at Jessica was now eating their words. Apex Holdings stock went into a freefall. The banks called in their loans. The Fishers went from being the talk of the town to social pariahs overnight. Vance Industries took a major hit as well. Marcus Vance reportedly beat his son so badly that Lucas ended up in the hospital. And the Sterling Corporation stock soared. Jessica Sterling was officially the new queen of the Port Sterling business world. In her office, Jessica stared at the stock ticker, but her expression was strangely subdued. She turned to look at me, sprawled on her sofa, playing a game on my phone. Is that it? Is it over? She asked, as if in a daze. Pretty much, I said, not looking up. They weren't exactly criminal masterminds. Seriously, this was child's play. Although, I have to admit, that old army friendship is worth a lot of money. $1 billion just like that. Jessica watched me, her expression unreadable. I could feel her perception of me shifting, from contempt to curiosity to something deeper, a mix of awe and a strange, budding reliance. She was beginning to realize she had no idea who I really was. I was a lazy slacker who just happened to have a brilliant strategic mind. I was a cynical jokester who always came through when it mattered most. I was the man who could hear all her secret fears and insecurities, but had never once used them against her. Instead, I had become her shield. Why is she staring at me like that? Don't tell me she's actually falling for me. No. The mission isn't over yet. I still haven't gotten my $5 million in my G-Wagon. Ahem. I sat up, feeling a little uncomfortable under her intense gaze. Apex might be out of the picture, but Lucas is still a problem. And his father, Marcus Vance, is a dangerous man. I know, Jessica nodded. My grandfather said Marcus is a complicated man. He values friendship, but he values profit more. He won't risk his entire company for his screw-up of a son. He's waiting for an opportunity to strike. Smart girl. She gets it. Marcus Vance is a snake in the grass. He's just waiting for us to let our guard down. And the best way to deal with a snake is to defang it before it can bite. Vance Industries' biggest division is their international shipping. Their main client is a European conglomerate, the Crown Group. If the Crown Group were to suddenly terminate their contract. As I was scheming, Jessica's phone rang. It was Jenna. Ms. Sterling, there's a problem. Our shipment to Europe. There's been an accident. What kind of accident? Jessica's face went pale. The cargo ship sank in a storm. The entire shipment is lost. Jenna's voice was frantic. Jessica swayed, and I reached out to steady her. Her hand was ice cold. Which shipment? She asked, her voice tight. The one for the Crown Group. $300 million worth of custom equipment. All the color drained from Jessica's face. My stomach clenched. The Crown Group? What a coincidence. No, this isn't a coincidence. This has Marcus Vance's fingerprints all over it. Investigate it. Jessica snapped into the phone. Check the ship's logs, the weather reports. I don't believe in coincidences. She hung up and sank onto the sofa, completely defeated. It's over, she whispered. That was a priority order for the Crown Group. We signed a penalty clause. If we can't deliver on time, we have to pay 10 times the value of the shipment. Our company's reputation will be ruined. $3 billion. A penalty like that would send the newly recovered Sterling Corporation straight back to the brink of bankruptcy. It was Marcus Vance, I said, my voice cold. The storm was just a cover. He paid off the shipping company to stage an accident. I know, Jessica said, closing her eyes, her face a mask of despair. But we have no proof. It happened in international waters. There's no way to investigate. Who says there's no proof? I asked. Oh, Marcus, you really shouldn't have done that. You think you're so clever, sinking a ship in the middle of the ocean. But you forgot about one little thing. Satellites. You have a way. Jessica's eyes flew open. She looked at me like I was her last hope. I have an idea, I said, rubbing my chin, but it's going to be expensive. I know a group of international hackers, Spectre. They say that for the right price, they can find out anything. Getting them to access a military-grade satellite and review the footage of that area of the ocean on that day shouldn't be too difficult for them. But the price, it's going to be astronomical. How expensive? Jessica asked. 100 million, I said, holding up a finger. Dollars. Jessica gasped. $100 million. That was a huge sum, even for the Sterling Corporation. Are you sure you can get the proof? She asked. Money buys results, I said confidently. Jessica looked at me, her eyes full of conflict. This was a massive gamble. If she lost, Sterling would be out $3 billion for the penalty, plus another $100 million for my little adventure. But if she won, she could destroy Marcus Vance and take over his entire empire. The fate of her company rested on her faith in me. What are you waiting for? Go big or go home. This $100 million is an investment. Not only will we get the proof we need, but I can also have them redirect some of the funds from the Vance Industries corporate accounts. Jessica must have heard me, because her expression hardened with resolve. Fine, you've got it. She walked to her desk and picked up the phone. Jenna, I need you to wire $100 million from my personal account to Ethan's account. Jenna probably dropped the phone. Jessica hung up and looked at me. The money is on its way. Now do your thing. I gave her a wolfish grin and dialed my phone. Crow, get me in touch with Spectre. I have a job for them. 2 days later, at the Sterling Corporation shareholders meeting, Marcus Vance showed up uninvited with a contingent of his top executives. He addressed the board with a somber expression. I was so sorry to hear about your recent troubles. The Vances and the Sterlings go way back. I can't just stand by and do nothing. I propose that Vance Industries acquire a controlling stake in Sterling to help you weather this storm. He sounded so sincere that some of the shareholders were starting to waver. David Sterling was shaking with rage, but he was powerless. just as Marcus thought he had them. The doors to the boardroom swung open. Jessica and I walked in side by side. In such a hurry to pick the bones, Mr. Vance? I said cheerfully. Marcus's eyes widened when he saw me. Ethan, you worthless parasite. You have no right to speak here. I think you'll find that I do. I walked to the front of the room and plugged a flash drive into the projector. Before we discuss any acquisitions, I have a little movie I'd like to show you all. I pressed play. The screen lit up with a crystal clear satellite image. A cargo ship sailing in the open ocean. A group of speedboats approached. Masked men boarded the ship and planted explosives on the hull. The speedboats sped away. A few minutes later, a massive explosion tore the ship apart. The video zoomed in on the face of one of the men. It was Marcus Vance's most trusted lieutenant. The boardroom was silent. Everyone stared at the screen, their mouths agape. Marcus Vance's face was as white as a sheet. He collapsed into his chair, all the strength gone from his body. No, impossible. How did you get this? He whispered. Anything is possible, I said, standing over him. You thought you were so clever, Marcus. But you forgot one thing. The sky has eyes. I leaned in close, my voice a low whisper. Oh, and by the way, the $5 billion that was in your corporate accounts? It's ours now. Marcus's eyes bulged. He let out a strangled gasp and passed out. The drama was over. Marcus Vance was arrested. Vance Industries, leaderless and in disgrace, collapsed. We bought it for pennies on the dollar. The balance of power in Port Sterling had shifted for good. The Sterling Corporation was now an undisputed empire. And I, Ethan Hayes, the former useless husband, had become a legend. Everyone knew that beside the powerful Queen of Sterling, there was a mysterious, brilliant man who pulled the strings from the shadows. Her husband, her secret weapon. But I didn't care about the fame. I just wanted my $5 million and my G-Wagon. Actually, no. I had bigger goals now. I wanted 10% of the Sterling Corporation. I had earned it. In the CEO's office, I slapped a consulting contract on Jessica's desk. Sign it, my dear Ice Queen wife. It's time to pay up. Jessica picked up the contract, glanced at it, and then fed it into the shredder. I panicked. Hey, what are you doing? It took me all night to write that. I'm not signing it, she said calmly. Why not? I yelled. Are you trying to screw me over? After everything I did for you? No way. If you don't pay me, You'll what? She asked, raising an eyebrow, a hint of amusement in her eyes. I'll tell everyone that you can read my mind. I blurted out, playing my last card. Let's see you get out of this one. But Jessica wasn't scared at all. She stood up and walked toward me. The click of her heels on the marble floor was the only sound in the room, each step a hammer blow against my heart. She cornered me against the wall, just as she had on the terrace. She placed a hand on the wall next to my head, trapping me. Her face was inches from mine. I could see the tiny, almost invisible freckles on her nose. Her cool, clean scent, now mixed with a subtle warmth, filled my senses. My heart started to race. What was she doing? In the middle of the day? In her office? Is she trying to pay me with her body? I'm a man of principle. Ethan, she said, her voice a low, husky whisper. Just how many more secrets are you hiding in that head of yours? The line. It was the same line from the beginning. I swallowed hard, my mouth suddenly dry. And none. You've drained me completely. Help. She's too close. I can't breathe. Is she going to kiss me? I didn't even brush my teeth this morning. Wait, yes I did. Whatever. I'm ready. It's not like I'm going to lose anything. As my mind was short-circuiting, Jessica smiled. She reached up with her other hand and gently tilted my chin up, her eyes sparkling. I'm not giving you the shares. Why? I demanded. Because. She leaned in, her warm breath tickling my ear. The entire Sterling Empire, including me. Isn't it all already yours? Boom. My brain went blank. Her words echoed in my mind. Including me. Isn't it all already yours? Is that a confession? Is the Ice Queen confessing her love for me? Oh my God. She's so smooth. I looked at her face, so close to mine, at the stars in her eyes, at the gentle curve of her lips. I couldn't take it anymore. I lowered my head and kissed her. Her lips were soft, cool, and tasted faintly of something sweet. So this is what it's like when an iceberg finally melts. End.